So, this chap, George du Maurier, I think he writes books as well. But anyway, he has invented this device called a telephonoscope. I saw it in Punch magazine last year. Interesting looking device. I never thought it really existed. But apparently you can see, I mean, I'll show you the pictures later, but you can see people who are miles away. Well, I was in Crimea, you could see people who were miles away, but apparently for du Maurier, telephonoscope, you can see them on, what did he call it? Screen, that's it. And then you can hear them when they're miles away. Well, my hearing's still pretty good, and I tell you, when we were out in Crimea, we could hear the blighters screaming miles away, and they could hear us as well. But anyway, I hear that it's done via something called telephone, something like that. So anyway, telephonoscope. I didn't think it'd ever be built, but he says, James, would you like to come and try my telephonoscope? I say, George, well, yes, all right. And he says, I've added another dimension to it as well. Not only can you see people who are miles away, hear people who are a long, long away, but talk to people who are years away. I said, years away? He said, yes, years away. How do you do that? I said, it's a secret. I've got my engineers, they worry about those things. Don't you worry about that. We're going to take a bit of film of it. Film? What's film? Well, this thing that this chap Edison is working on, that's Edison? Edison who? Never mind, he says. Just sit there and you're going to talk, and this will go onto YouTube. MeTube? What do you mean MeTube? No, he says YouTube. Never heard of it. But he said, anyway, talk about your time in Crimea. Okay, so there I was in Crimea. James, you know me anyway, I'm sure, but for those who don't, James Brudenell, out there in, well, I say Crimea, we got to Crimea, 1850, well actually, it was 1854 by the time we get out there. We declared war in May 1854. So, it's Tsar Nicholas I of Russia. He starts it all because he says he's concerned about the well-being of the Eastern Church priests in Palestine. Now, Palestine, I mean, as you know, Palestine is part of the Ottoman Empire. Turks are there. Part of the Ottoman world. Now, as you also know, we are allies of the Turks, and the French are allies of the Turks. So when they say Nicholas is threatening to invade, to look after the rights of people in Palestine, well, and the French say, well, we've got Catholics out there, we've got Catholic priests, we want to look after their rights. And the English say, we've got a passage to India there, and we want to look after our rights as well. So, I don't know, it just all sort of escalated. They actually came to an agreement about who guarantees the rights of which priests and monks in Palestine, but it became a nasty business because Nicholas I would not back off at this point. The French, well, it's Napoleon III. He's a bit of a usurper anyway. I mean, you know, Napoleon, he's not like Napoleon I. Napoleon III, he has to prove himself to the French. So it's a matter of, I'm not going to back down, Sonny Jim, for him. So he has to go, and we have to go out there because the problem is with the Russians, because the Ottoman Empire by this time is kind of falling apart. They've had battles, they've lost Serbia, they've lost Greece in the Greek War of Independence, they've lost Algeria to the French in 1830, so the Ottoman Empire is in a bit of a precarious situation. And we need to back up the Turks because they are guaranteeing our passage to India there, our passage and our interests out that way. So there we go. We join the Turks to fight off the Russians, and it really turns out to be a very bloody war. But I tell you what, when it was all over, I mean, you see this very nice jacket here, and the nice cap that I'm wearing. Well, I got these, I mean, I had them made in London, of course, but the cap is called a smoking cap, and the jacket is called a smoking jacket. And, you know, we brought back tobacco from Turkey. Turks are really bad, like coffee as well. I haven't drunk so much coffee in my life. I'm feeling very jittery after all that. But yeah, tobacco. My God, some very fine cigars and some very fine tobacco to put in my pipe. But you see, we wear the smoking. I mean, we men love it. We don't mind it. But you know, the ladies complain about the smell of the tobacco and of the smoke. So, you know, to keep the ladies happy, we put on the smoking cap, and the purpose of the smoking cap is to absorb all the smoke, and the jacket absorbs all the smoke, so when we retire to the drawing room we can have our smoke of our Turkish tobacco, and then when we rejoin the ladies, leave the cap behind, leave the jacket behind, and we smell like a bed of roses. Well, it's been an absolute delight. Let me see what the time is. Yeah, where's my... Oh, I put it here somewhere. Oh, I have to be going now. It's 2019. 2019. Does it mean nearly 20 past 8? Sorry? 20... The year 20... What? George? George? The year 2019? Oh my